As the protracted and relentless Russian winter of the late 19th century descended once more, the estate of Yasnaya Polyana was utterly entombed by boundless, pristine snow. In a second-floor chamber, crowded with bookshelves and cradles, the hearth fire crackled softly, illuminating a countenance etched with profound serenity and exhaustion. This woman, head bowed, moved her quill with swift precision across snowy sheets of paper. She was transcribing a work destined to be revered by the world as immortal war and peace. She was Sofia Tolstaya, the wife of the Titan, Leo Tolstoy, a name that has wandered for a century within the footnotes of history. Confronted by her husband's increasingly fervent spiritual pursuits and his flight from reality, she chose not to abandon him. Instead, amidst the scent of ink and the drudgery of daily chores, she painstakingly mended a precarious utopia. Close your eyes and listen to the final, lingering breaths of devotion hidden behind those manuscripts. The trajectory of Sophia's life was dyed with the hues of literature as early as the late autumn of 1862. During a wedding that felt somewhat hurried. She was but 18 then, pure, intelligent, and arriving at this ancient fiefdom with dreams of high society. Yet, on the second day of their marriage, Tolstoy handed her his private diaries, which chronicled the debauchery of his youth, demanding that she accept his past in its entirety. That dizzying plunge from the clouds into the mire of human reality became the first unhealable rift in Sophia's soul. She quickly realized that she must not only manage vast ledgers and care for a brood of children, but also serve as an extension of her husband's mind. She transcribed War and Peace 7 times over, her fingerprints left upon every single page. The snowstorms beyond the window bore witness as she transformed from an innocent girl into a resilient lighthouse of the written word. If transcription was a resonance of the spirit, the drudgery of mundane life was a chronic attrition that Sophia had to endure alone. As Tolstoy drifted into an extreme obsession with poverty and sanctity, even desiring to renounce his wealth and copyrights, Sophia had to step forward and play the parsimonious and worldly antagonist. In Tolstoy's eyes, she was the chain hindering his path to truth. In Sophia's eyes, she was the shield protecting their family from being crushed by his near-manic ideals. Whenever Tolstoy decried her mediocrity in his journals, Sophia would record her own moments of heartbreak. He writes of the most moving love in the world, yet refuses to share a shred of tenderness with the woman sitting beside him, mending his buttons. This loneliness, squeezed by his monumental fame, she transformed into quiet, tear-inducing photographs through her camera lens. The bleakest turn of fate arrived when, in the struggle over spiritual freedom, Sophia was ultimately pushed to the periphery as an outsider. As Tolstoy's late-life convictions grew more radical, he fled the home he had inhabited for half a century in the dead of night. On that bone-chilling dawn in 1910, when Sophia found her husband's pillow cold, her world collapsed instantly. At the tiny Ostapovo railway station, throngs of followers surrounded the dying Tolstoy, while Sophia was barred at the door. She was forced to stare through the window pane, watching in despair the final moments of the man who had shared her bed for 30 years, but who now regarded her as an adversary. She realized that no matter how many times she had transcribed his words, within the grand narrative of that man, she remained forever a shadow deliberately overlooked. Sophia's final days were passed in a solemn and nearly devout silence. After her husband's passing, she remained at the estate, becoming the most loyal gatekeeper of this literary sanctuary. She began to compile their correspondence and record her husband's life. By then, her hair was as white as frost, her face as gaunt and noble as a stone carving weathered by the elements. She understood that the world loved Tolstoy, the deity, but only she had loved Leo, the mortal, the man who would lose his temper over a stomachache or wander lost in the snow. In a letter to her son, she wrote, "If I could do it all over again, I would still choose to transcribe those manuscripts, for within those ink marks, I shared a true communion with him." In the late autumn of 1919, Sophia peacefully closed her eyes. She requested to be buried in the public cemetery rather than beside her husband. In that final act, she finally reclaimed her own independent dignity. Even today, a century after her departure, the name of Sofia Tolstaya remains a thought-provoking blank space in the annals of literature. She teaches us that even when the world sees only the brilliance of the light, those souls laboring quietly in the shadows possess an immortal weight. She was the shadow of Anna Karenina, yet she lived with a reality more profound and substantial than that tragic heroine. In the yellow manor house, one can almost still see a slender silhouette by candlelight in the deep of night, turning over the folds of history. With her sewing needle and her quill, Sophia stitched the final rift between genius and mediocrity, between dream and reality. Her life was an intellectual odyssey, seeking self-harmony amidst a cacophony of rumors. The story of Sophia draws to a close amidst the fading footsteps at Yasnaya Polyana. We are accustomed to worshipping the prophets upon the altar, yet we easily overlook the mother who mends the fabric of life beneath the lamp's glow. She was never a woman born for fame. She was a soul profoundly weary, yet one who steadfastly refused to abandon her family. No matter how hidden your sacrifice is, the persistence within your heart is your only eternal sanctuary. Perhaps you too are currently navigating a life unseen, or feeling the violent collision between duty and self. But believe this, in every life, there exists a transcription manuscript of one's own, an inner space that requires no external display, only a dialogue with the self. May the serenity and composure of Sophia transform into the softest feather in your dreams, drifting you toward that most tranquil and boundless shore of the heart. Good night, and may sweet dreams be yours.